Everyone, I welcome you all for the lecturer series on programming using Python. I am Mahalakshmi M, Assistant Professor, Department of Master of Computer Application, Maharaj Institute of Technology, Mysore. So before introducing the subject, I am going to tell you the vision and missions of the institution. Vision of the institution is to be recognized as a premier technical and management institute promoting extensive education, fostering research, innovation and entrepreneurial attitude. To achieve these visions, we have set some of the missions, and missions are to empower students with indispensable knowledge through dedicated teaching and collaborative learning, to advance the extensive research in science, engineering and management disciplines, to facilitate the entrepreneurial skills through effective institute-industry collaboration and interaction with alumni, to instill the need of uphold ethics in every aspects, to mold holistic individual capable of contributing to the advancement of the society. So next is vision and mission of the department. So vision of the department is to be the premier source that provides a transformative education to create computer professionals, competent entrepreneurs and technocrats to meet the global challenges. Missions are to facilitate students with narrative skills to practice their professionals competently to meet the ever-changing needs of society and environment, to develop the potentials of human resource with the idea, research to meet the requirements of cutting-edge technology. Okay, let's start with the subjects. In these subjects, we have 5 modules. So what are those? In the 5 modules, in the first module, you are going to know about the expressions and values with respect to the Python. How you are going to write expressions, how you are going to evaluate the values and the built-in functions of the Python. And you have a strings method and built-in functions. Those things are studied in your module 1. When it comes to module 2, you are knowing about the making choice, that is if statements, nested if, like that. Next comes your modular approach. So here we are going to divide the larger program into subsets or sub instances of the program. So those things are studied in your module 2. So when it comes to module 3, you are knowing about the how to store and how to access a data using a list. So list is a kind of data structure or a type of data which is going to store the data in the Python. And you are knowing about the loops which is in the Python. So next comes in with respect to module 4, you are going to know about the files and how to access the files and the operations which can be performed on files. And with respect to Python, not the list, we have some other kinds of data structure also like set, tuples, dictionaries. So those things are studied in your module 4. And when it comes to module 5, you are going about the new things which is there in the OOPS. And we have a graphical user interface in a 5th module. So you are going to use TCL script or TCL TK packages to build a graphical environment. So to study all these 5 modules, our university has recommended the 2 textbooks. So with respect to first textbooks, it is a practical programming in Introduction to Computer Science using Python. It is a 2nd edition and the author of this textbook, it is Paul Grace. So whatever you are seeing on my left hand side, this is a textbook of the first textbook, and the 2nd textbook, it is learning with Python, how to think like a computer scientist, and this book is written by the Alan Downing, and this is the book of the 2nd one. Okay, so after studying this whole 5 modules, so there will be learn something, right? So what are those? So that first it is you are understood the basic or fundamentals of the Python programming languages. So after understanding, then you are going to apply the data structure which is studied in your Python programming. Then you are going to design the various applications or small applications which will be what you are taught in all these 5 modules. Then we are going to implement the OOPS concept on a Python. So next comes is a exam pattern. So with respect to exam, the exam it is conducted for, or this subject has a credit of 4 credits. So it means it is evaluated for 100 marks. Okay. With this 100 marks is divided as this, like this. So 40 is marks for class internal examination, and remaining 60 marks is for semester end examination. So with respect to 40, there will be a 2 test which is conducted for 20 marks, and remaining 20 marks is divided as either through quiz, assignments, projects. So based on this, you will be getting a 40 marks in internals, and with respect to external examination or a semester end term examinations, so this will be for your 100 marks exam, and this will be scaled down to a 60 marks. So the question paper pattern, it is from each module you will get 2 questions. You need to answer either of the 1 question from the each module. So let's start with the basics of program. So what is a program? What is program? Program is nothing but a set of instructions that is executed by computer to perform a specific task, right? So what is programming? What is programming? It is a process of writing or editing the source code. So I have said, what is program? It is a set of instruction. Whatever the instruction which is written, those things are called as a source code. So in terms of programming, the process of writing or editing this source code we called as a programming. So writing is nothing but you are going to type the things. Editing, yeah, editing of source code, it maybe involves a testing, analyzing, refining. So all these things will come under in your editing of the source code. Okay, and in sometimes we need to coordinate with the other programs also. So those things are comes under in your edit options of programming. So usually whatever we have written in a program, that we called as a human readable form. So those things are not understandable by the machines. So those things should be get converted. So this conversions will take space in 2 forms. That is, either it can be done through compiler or assembler, or a interpreter. Okay, so when we are converting a human readable form, that is source code, what we call, to a machine understandable form, that is assembly level or a compiler code. So in that time only the instructions will be get translated to the machine understandable form. It not should be get executed. So when it comes to interpreter form, this interpreter will convert the source code to machine understandable form, and also it executes immediately. So this is the difference between compiler and the interpreter. Why we need a programming languages? Right? So programming language is nothing but a collection of rules that will going to command the computer or a devices or applications to work according to the written code, right? So programming language is required, or it consisting of collections of rules that commands a computer or a device or applications to work according to the written code. And the programming languages is used to automate, maintain, assemble, measure and interpret the processing of data and informations. So I am repeating, the programming languages is used to automate, maintain, assemble, measure and interpret the processing of data and informations. So with respect to programming languages, we have many different types of programming languages like C, C++, Java, Python and HTML, all those things come, right? So all this will have their own merits. So certain languages are suits for particular types of tasks, like HTML will suits for web applications. Like that, every languages will have their own particular tasks, and there is no one language which will be the best. Okay. So why we are learning this subject in this semesters, right? Yes, this is a question mark. So we have with respect to today's trend, the architecture, or we are going with the artificial intelligence, deep learning and machine learning. So everything is get automated and everything will be thinking like artificial intelligence, means machine should think like a human. So for the coding of the machine think like that, or the machine languages and artificial intelligence are using or written by the Python programming languages, so that you are going to learn all these things. In next higher semester you will be going to learn machine languages, so that it may helpful for your next higher studies, or if you are going for any particular job, it will may helpful. And most of the applications are written, or a part of the applications are written using the Python. For example, Google, YouTube, Netflix, these are some of the applications which are not wholly, some part of the codes are written using a Python languages. For example, in your Google, there will be a voice command, right? So voice command and the picturizations, those things are written by using your Python programming. So let's go with the introduction to Python. Okay, Python is developed by other Python author. Its name is Goody Van Rossum. Okay, he developed in the year of 1989. Okay, he given the name as Python because he likes the comedy television movie called Monty Python. Monty Python Flying Circus. So is very much fan of this comedy television movie. So that's what he given the name as Python. Okay. Next comes features of Python. What are the different features of Python? So Python, it is easy to understand. So Python is written in English like language so that it can easy to understand and it is easy to read. So most of the things the most of the code is written as English like, or it is similar to English like language, so that it is easy to understand, it is easy to readable, and it is a free or open source. So you can download this application using URL called python.org, and it is a free, so you're not going to purchase, or no need of purchasing this application, and it is a open source. You can download it, and if you want any changes or if you wanted to add any library to that, you can add it. Okay, and it's have large support of library. So as I said, open source, most of the research oriented, most of the scientists have changed the code so that Python has different versions, and it has large number of supported library files we can include in our programs. And one of the feature, it is memory management. So in terms of Python, it automatically clears the memory. So no need of see like alloc and calloc, all those things delete. So those things are not performed on in your Python. Next feature, it is a cross platform. It means it is it's not dependent on particular operating systems. You can change or the applications can be run in any other operating systems also. So you can run Python program in either in Windows or Linux or Mac operating systems. So next is installing Python on your system. So installing Python on your systems, as I said, Python will comes in different versions. So Python has a different version. It starts from Python 1x, 2x and 3x, and current version of the Python, it is 3.8.5. So there is no compatibility between one version to another versions. Means it not dependent on the previous version. So the structure will may get changes. And okay, next is to download the file. You just go to python.org. Okay. And in that, just go to download. So you will be able to download the Python using this address. Okay. So it will be downloaded to your default folder, or you can specify the address of the file, or else you can go with Google search. In Google also you can type Python, so it will give, or it will redirect to the same Python software download. Once again it will redirect to the same page. Okay. So the video will be played with this. So after the sessions, or end of the these sessions, there will be a video how to download and how to install the Python on your systems. So next it is, how does a computer run on your, or how does the Python program will run on in your system. Okay, how does a computer run a Python program, or how does Python run in your computer? So usually the computer will consisting of monitor, keyboard, hard disk, and network card. So all these things will be interconnected. So this whole things we called as a hardware, right? So when user or a programmer wanted to get communicated with all these components of a computer, it requires a interface. That interface, it is a operating system. So your applications will be interacted with the operating system, and operating systems will interacted with the hardware components or the components of the computer. So I will show the same thing in a diagram. So user has written a application. So he wanted to communicate it through to a hardware component, that is hard drive. Monitor. So we require an interface. So what is an interface? That is operating system. So operating system is the interface between our application and the hardware component. So the application will directly interact with the operating systems, and operating systems will interact with the hardware component. This is what normal operations will be performed with. Okay, with respect to Python, it is different. So whatever we have written, that is Python program, so there will be a interface, that is Python interpreter. So this will interface with the operating system, and this operating systems will interact with the hardware component, that is hard disk or hard drive, and a monitor. So this is how Python will works on in your computer. So the Python program will be have a one more layer between operating system, that is Python interpreter. Python with respect to Python interpreter, it will generate a intermediate code, that is intermediate code. So this code can be executed in any other operating system. So based on this, we can say that Python it is a cross platform or a portable languages. Okay, I am going to recall what we have studied in this session. So first, the vision mission of the institution and vision mission of the department, as well as the 5 modules which are going to taught in the next coming sessions, and the textbooks, and why are the basics of your programming, what is programming, and why we require a programming languages, then installing a Python on your system, then next how the computer will works on your system. Thank you.